Hi, my name is Jimmy MacMillan. I'm the Executive Pastry Chef and Director of Operations at Alamo Foods. My brand is Pastry Virtuosity. I've been a pastry chef most of my life, and this is the way that I express my creativity and my artistic ideas through food.
How did your career as a chef begin?
My career as a chef began really by working in restaurants while I was off of the road, because I was a traveling musician for a good part of my teenage years and into my 20s. That's pretty much what I wanted to do, was become a recording musician, writing songs. I played guitar, sang, so I played drums, trumpet, and when I would not be traveling, I would pick up work in restaurants, and I learned to cook that way. Had cooked home growing up, and it was a good way to kind of patch through the winter before going on the next tour. Little by little, I worked in better and better restaurants and started to work in bakeries, and kind of felt that that combination of the artistic side, the science side, fit my skill set, especially growing up in the arts, doing sculpture and drawing and music. Started to fall in love with the idea of the very creative desserts, like plated desserts. Got my first job at the Four Seasons Hotel doing really that high-end pastry, and started traveling around the world seeking the best pastry chefs to learn from. And so I was set on my path from that and continue to work in pastry for the next 25 years.
What or who made you want to become a chef?
Early contact with some of the best pastry chefs, when I was still deciding if I would play music or what I was going to do. I had a few great examples. Sebastian Canon from French Pastry School, of just someone who was consumed by the artistic idea of chef, very technical, and that was the first example where I saw this could be a lifelong career of combining that technique, technology, and artistic vision, and making people happy through giving them a dessert, something that most people enjoy and is sort of a reward. So that sort of set me on the idea that that's what I wanted to do, and just not play music so much, but just play with dessert products and make desserts and candy, chocolate confections.
What is your favorite dish on your current menu?
I have a lot of favorites on our current selection of gelatos, especially the more creative combinations. We have some items like the blueberry cobbler, which again, on the surface, we all know what blueberry cobbler should be, but we've created the elements of streusel and cake and jam, making a house-made jam from some local orchard berries that we save in the summer, and combining those with a gelato. To me, it tastes great. So again, very approachable. I think we all know what that idea of having a hot cobbler with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, but in this gelato pan with all the elements. And I'd like to carry that through with the various gelato program that we're working on, where we would do some very complicated or complex, not complicated ideas, but when you eat them, they tell a story, sets us apart from just a vanilla or chocolate or hazelnut gelato.
What are your 3 favorite kitchen tools?
Pastry chefs have a lot of gadgets and tools. My top 3, scissors for sure. I always keep them everywhere. I really like a paring knife, especially my global paring knife. I've had it for years. It has a very skinny tip, and I can place things on when I'm plating desserts with it. And then I would say like a Sharpie marker or even tape, as I'm forever taping and marking and labeling things. So those actually, I could do a lot with just those tools and all the dessert ingredients.
What are your 3 favorite places to eat in Chicago, and why?
My favorite places to eat in Chicago, Acadia restaurant, especially the dine is great, but often you'll find me at the bar eating banh mi sandwich, ordering some things off the menu, and then of course all of the desserts. That's a favorite. Really enjoy DMK Burger Bar. Even though it's in my neighborhood and I go once a month, I always enjoy, it's a good quality burger, nice bun. I like the pickles and okra fried, it's delicious. The shakes aren't bad. And Oh, there's so many. It's really tough to decide. What would be my top three? Yeah, I don't know. Those two for sure. And I don't know, Marcello's Pizza. That's one of my favorite pizzas. So some relaxed stuff, and definitely find me at Acadia in the bar.
What are the top 5 used spices in your cooking?
I use a lot of spices in my cooking. The dish we made today had some of my favorites: coriander, green cardamom, vanilla beans, fresh vanilla beans, which I consider one of the best spices. I put in almost everything. Also ginger, all the types of cinnamon, and chilies, a lot of chilies. Those figure in very heavily. But I would say spice to me is one way that really you could build a flavor profile without just using the broad building blocks of chocolate or cream, and really give an individual expression with those spices.
What is your favorite dish or top 3 favorite dishes?
My favorite dishes to make, these other tough questions, I really like so much, but really like brownies. Sometimes I can't decide whether to make devil's food cake, which is one of my favorites, or brownies, because to me they're both really delicious. I love making candy like pâte à fouille, bonbons, any kind of chocolate bars. That's something that I really enjoy making. And then the whole world of plated dessert, especially fruit desserts, bringing something that was grown perfect and not changing it too much, and bringing that to the plate for someone to enjoy, like something straight from an orchard, something that again would be perfect just to eat it, and then we kind of try to not get in the way of nature by making a fruit dessert. So I like making those things quite a bit.
What's your top kitchen cooking trick?
My top kitchen trick would really just be the way that I've organized things over time. I used to just fill up a sink full of dishes and prepping all these different dessert items. Now, just having a workflow and thinking very much about like a half sheet pan size and organizing everything. Of course, scaling everything first and doing everything in its own perfect order. I think that's the best trick for any chef. You save so much time, everything's clean, you make very few mistakes that way. So perfect workflow, clean spaces, working in like a half sheet pan size, so we're not really everywhere. And that way too, when I travel and teach and I'm in small places, it's very comfortable to really be organized in that small format.
What's the kitchen gadget you couldn't live without?
Well, my favorite tool for pastry that I use all the time is various scrapers, almost like putty knives and different small spatulas, forever like molding things and scraping it, and really find like a small, and really I'll look around for them in different places, in the hardware store, sometimes in the kitchen shop, but I really think it's essential to have these scrapers on. Better than an offset, which is a spatula is too thin. Really like that kind of triangulated scraper, and I use it for chocolate work, use it for molding. That's my gadget of choice.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten or cooked?
The weirdest thing I've ever eaten, I don't know what's weird anymore, but definitely there's some textures that are strange. Let's say like the iced uni dish that I had at Grace, I liked it, but it was also a little bit weird because it was like frozen, but then it was creamy, and it was sort of interesting. So I think that's probably one of the weirder things that I've eaten, especially with that dessert, with that dish.
Do you cook on your days off?
I cook on my days off. I cook on my days on. We really are cooking around the clock in my household. We have 2 kitchens. One that's sort of a sweet kitchen, and basically try to cook all our meals at home. We do go out to eat, we enjoy that, but overall we like to keep our 2 refrigerators stocked and just cook all our meals. So yeah, I'm always in the kitchen at work and at home.
What is your guilty pleasure dish or food?
My guilty pleasure food is mac and cheese with fried pickles. So if I'm stressed out and I have a busy day at work, I'll probably be eating at a bar, mac and cheese and some fried pickles and like an IPA, and it's very comforting for some reason. I don't know why. All those textures work good, and I feel happy and satisfied. So that's I'll continue to eat those things as my guilty pleasure.
What advice would you give yourself in the first years of being a chef?
Advice I would give the young me as an aspiring chef, if I could do that, would be to learn everything more slowly, completely, before moving on to the next, as that's the basis of the building blocks. I used to go very fast and try to learn as much as possible all the time, which is good, but sometimes I found I would go back later and try to fill in and learn more completely and kind of develop that way. So I would just tell the younger me to, slow down a little bit, that you're going to get there, but try to completely understand things before moving on to the next thing.
Is there anything you would like to share with our viewers?
Right now, what I'm most excited about is Pastry Virtuosity, really the idea of combining the film, video, and dessert that I've been doing for the last couple decades, and kind of bringing that to a bigger audience, talking about how this dessert is a vehicle for storytelling and artistic vision, and really continue to touch businesses at all levels and also chefs at all levels for education, for promoting the industry, and just having fun in general. Like I put a high value on fun these days. So Pastry Virtuosity for me is taking that half a lifetime of work and just sharing that with other people, and kind of with one idea of promoting pastry in the United States and really elevating that.
If you would, go ahead and hit that like button, as it helps us to continue to make content just like the video you just watched. Also, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest videos as we release them. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.